You folks ready to repeal Costa-Hawkins? Stop runaway rents? You ready to stop unfair evictions? So we launched Tenants Together in 2008, and a lot has happened since then. I'm really excited to see a lot of the changes in recent years and the inspiring victories that so many people in this room have been a part of. We set out really to do three main things. One was to form new tenant organizations in communities that had never had tenant organizing at all in their community. The second thing was to connect all these advocates doing this incredible work at the local level who didn't talk to each other. We've inspired and worked with people who become organizers in their communities. So we have worked with people, for example, who passed the first anti-eviction law, just cause for eviction law in the Central Valley, in the history of the Central Valley, because they called our hotline, got inspired, went to city council, and we worked with them every step of the way to do that. You know that there's not a lot of difference between that Trump guy and that Jerry Brown guy, and if they're media people, go ahead and quote me, because I know that it's overused. It's overused, these Trump analogies, but I'm going to tell you, when it comes to housing, it's accurate. His position as the cause of the housing crisis is overregulation. Sound familiar? Because if you listen to Ben Carson, that's exactly what he says. I see very little difference between what comes out of Ben Carson's mouth about affordable housing and what comes out of our governor's mouth. And it's a huge problem, and we're building the power we need to change that dynamic, and I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans, they have utterly failed on affordable housing, and we're going to hold them accountable.
Everybody for the makeout room. Such a great venue. Also give a shout out to Las Panchitas on 16th of Valencia with the pupusas. Oh my God. I ain't even eat any and I'm full. All right, we're gonna get into the awards now, and to present the Knowledge is Power Award is the amazing Sarah. So please give it up for Sarah.
So I'm incredibly honored to present this award, the Knowledge is Power Award tonight, to three people who have taught me so much over the last years about what it means to be in solidarity with each other. I think that in this time when there's so much difficult stuff going on at a federal level here in the state of California and in our local communities, it's so important that we ask the question of not only how do we speak out against the violences and injustices that are happening on a daily basis, but how do we actually take action? How do we include that in our daily practice, in the way we engage with each other, and also in the work that we do? And these three people have taught me so much about how to do that and how to continue doing that and have energy for it and enthusiasm. So it is with great, great happiness that I first thank Bob Kelleher. Bob has been essential to the management and maintenance of our Tenants' Rights Hotline. In the last 12 months alone, I cannot believe this, Bob, you have contributed 438 hours to our Tenants' Rights Hotline. And I realize I don't have the awards in hand, they're just back here, but I'll grab them right afterwards. I'm going to then say Denise Bachlein. Denise has been with us since 2014 and has contributed enormously to not only our work here, as well as the work at the Eviction Defense Collaborative down the street, and her own work in fair housing in Marin. I'm so incredibly happy to work alongside you, Denise, and learn with you. It's wonderful. So thank you. Thank you, Denise. And then I'd like to thank Laura Pechotnik, who has given, I can't even count how much, to the work of Tenants' Rights. I'm sure that many of you have already heard her name and celebrated her. But for us, she's been supporting in our Concord Legal Clinic, supporting tenants on the ground there, as well as doing the really important work of introducing new tenant lawyers to the importance of fighting for housing justice in the state of California. So again, thank you so much for everything you've done.
We're deeply indebted for the work of East Bay Express in continuing to tell the story, because we know that the mainstream media doesn't tell the story of tenants, right? And it doesn't tell the story about evictions and rent increases, except, and potentially in the high end of the market. The Chronicle had a story about how doctors are being outpriced, can't afford San Francisco anymore. But that's true, but that's not the whole story. So the East Bay Express has done its job. So thank you, the East Bay Express. Go out and pick up a paper, it's free. For those of you who have not been able to work with the mapping project up to this point, and many of you have, I'm sure, because of the work, the research they've done for across the state, but their work has been essential for organizing our community.
One of the very first things we did after making our first map of Ellis Act evictions was to work with tenants together to analyze how many of those evictors were speculators, and we found that nearly 80% of Ellis Act evictors in San Francisco had evicted within the first year of property ownership, and that data was really useful in building local and also statewide momentum. We last year spent all year with tenants together and a bunch of other community partners making this huge interactive report about displacement in Alameda County, and a lot of folks in the project did amazing work, including Ariel, who made all these amazing videos that you should check out. And we made this community power map, and that really has been this big thing for us as of late, to map points of resistance, not just these really negative landscapes of loss, but to show ways that we can map points of power so that we can fight back and know what community assets are.
I just want to explain why we chose to call this award Displacement Resistors. It's important, to resist not only against racism, against sexism, but against real estate and landlord industry. We know our new President Trump as the landlord-in-chief, the evictor-in-chief, the gentrifier-in-chief. What other names can we give him for his being a real estate mogul, for discriminating against tenants regularly in New York City, and perhaps beyond? And so that's why we're honoring these folks as they're really a model for now and for the future, and to really work intersectionally across movements to fight for our homes. Say hello to the rising stars of the tenant movement.
Well, my name is Maria Marroquin, and it's really truly an honor just be here speaking on behalf of the Day Worker Center of Mountain View, and also as a member of the Mountain View Tenants Coalition. Even though this fight was tremendous, it was impossible. As many people said, you are crazy guys, how you can believe you can do this? And we said we can do it, and believe me, we really knew it was a hard work, but we never feel alone. So it was something that I really need to recognize to Tenants Together, to our friends from Richmond, to our friends for San Jose, for Alameda, because every single moment we knew we have our backs over.
Thanks for this recognition, because I really poured my heart and soul into this for 8 months. Every day I woke up thinking, what the hell are we going to do to win? And it was really crazy. So thanks for recognizing this best performance in a rent control campaign drama.
Fremont and Union City. Part of the beauty in the movement is how specifically communities of color come together to organize, because it is part of our DNA and it is our cultural work. And Union City folks saw that the fight Fremont was throwing down for the last almost 3 years, and they came to us, specifically folks from the Filipino community, and said, listen, we see what's happening in our, right across the city boundary, and this same issue is coming up, and we know it's not, we're not alone. Like now it's, confirmed. We see it happening across the region, and we're here to learn from you and to invite you over to be part of our struggle, because our struggles are connected. We lead multi-issue lives, and we need your support. And with that, we were really lucky to get to work with comrades and pass Just Cause in literally a number of, 3 months. We passed this.
Well, my name is Mel Krantz, and I'm very proud to be a member of the Renters' Rights Coalition. We're all working very hard, as all of you are, against the same kind of goals. We're trying to balance that tenant power with landlord power. Oh, it's so hard, but we have made progress. There are many, many communities who now have rent control, and recently in San Jose, no landlord can come up and evict somebody just because they're of a women fancy, or just because they want to rent to somebody who can afford more rent. No. We're hoping that all of this work leads to that great day when housing will be considered a right.
We got one way on the 1s and 2s. Don't go anywhere. He's gonna be here rocking for another hour. Don't forget we got pupusas. If you haven't eaten, grab some.